Welcome back to the podcast, guys. Today we're here with Dan Cotton from Yaxley Football Club. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, cheers, boys. Thanks for obviously letting me on. So, Dan Cotton, currently play for Yaxley Football Club. Prior to that, kind of played a lot of non-league football. So, played for Surham Town Rangers, Stamford, and started my adult career with a team called Blackstones, which is in Stamford as well. So, been there, and fortunate to have been a professional for a short time for Boston United. So, that's a little bit about my adult career. So yeah.
George, if you were to get us started.
Right, we'll start off with like your childhood. How was it? Was you very like football based?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, um, it's kind of hard to remember like all them years ago. But I remember starting off just at like a big, so it was called mini soccer, which was over at Gunthorpe, Campbell Drive. So, I mean, I played there from sort of like quite a young age, and then that's where I was sort of like picked up by my like football manager through all pretty much all my youth, which was a guy called Dave Bird, who took me to a team called Thomas Cook. And then we were Thomas Cook for a number of years, and then got changed to a team called PSV. So I don't know if you boys remember them, or you've got any age groups of that age now. But that's kind of how it all started for me, really. Just down the local park, just playing matches with a load of other kids like my age. So yeah.
Was you like wanted to like get this far when you were a kid, or was there something else you wanted to do?
No, yeah, for sure. Like I think every sort of like kid's dream is to play obviously professional football, and that's all I wanted to do. Like I said, I was quite sporty, to be fair, at a young age. So, it was football really. My dad used to be he used to play football, just sort of like local non-league, like Saturday, Sunday morning. But he before that he was a speedway rider. So that kind of quite big into my speedway, but with the injuries like my dad had, that was pretty much a no go for me from my mum. So, it was football from there on, really.
Was your parents really supportive of you going down a football
Oh yeah,
career?
like massively. I mean, I don't know what it's like now for obviously you boys like playing footy, but back then it was sort of you would play for I'd play for my school. I would play for the league's like representative side, so like Peterborough Reps we were called. I would play for like my club side, which is PSV Thomas Cook. And then I was also sort of like early teens, I played for a team called East Anglia. So we represented like the whole of East Anglia. So I was playing and like for four clubs at a time. And like football was quite local then, but they would, take me to and from training, to and from matches. And sometimes like with East Anglia, training would be over at Sandy. So like just sort of like the other side of like Bedford. So yeah, like massively, they would take me here, there, and everywhere. To be fair, I mean, if I didn't have them, I probably wouldn't have got as far as I have done, to be honest. So yeah, very thankful for them, and yeah, lucky that they were able to ferry me there and everywhere. So.
Jake?
Would you say that when you were younger in primary school and secondary school, would you say that you were one of the better footballers?
Um, to be honest, I like when I look at my sort of like school years, like the group of mates that like I had and the teams we played in, a lot of them were at sort of like academies. So there was a few players at like Peterborough United and stuff like that. And I was never at an academy when I was younger. So I'd always say I was one of the better players, but I would say there was players there that were better than me, just purely based on they was at academies. That like a lot of them, like I say, were Peterborough United. And I was never in an academy or anything like that. So yeah.
Um, would you say if you got into an academy, your footballing career would be totally different to what it is now?
Um, I don't know. It's just it's a strange one, really. I suppose like it could be, it couldn't be. Like I never went in an academy, and I got seen by Boston United when I was playing for Blackstones. So I was just probably I was like 18, 19 at the time, and I went. So when I got spotted, I went to play in a trial match against Rotherham, I think it was. And then the following day, I trained with them, and I got told I was given a professional contract from there. So, but then obviously throughout the academy stages, a lot of people will go through the academy stages and then they kind of like get released. We've got some lads at Yaxley now who were Peterborough and they've kind of not been offered a contract and they're playing with me now at Yaxley. So yeah, you can kind of say it may have helped and it may have not have done. I suppose, like with football, it's sometimes a little bit of like rub of the green as to whether you get seen or stuff like that, really. So,
Would you say that
yeah.
teams such as Yaxley and Peterborough and Northern Stars are used as sort of rebounds for players who have been rejected by Peterborough United?
Yeah, I would say yeah and no. Like it's obviously like in and around Peterborough, you've got Peterborough Sports, PNS, obviously ourselves. You've got Deepin, and then a little bit further afield, you've got Wisbeach. So a lot of clubs like us, we use like Peterborough United. To be fair, like we don't have sometimes we don't have a very big like playing squad at Yaxley. So sometimes we will go in. And we will use like players from the academy, so like 19, 20-year-olds and stuff like that. Often or not, like they get released and we might have contacts in there. So Peterborough United, we might make contact with them. And then they might push them sort of in our direction to sort of get into adult football. And obviously with step 4 that we play at, it's a decent level of football to kind of get them into men's football. So yeah, you could kind of say like we kind of get like the rebounds, but sometimes you do end up getting some good players from it, and then they can progress from there, really. So it's kind of could be a second chance for them. So
yeah, George.
Were you like a football fan? Would you say like would you supporting like your team from a kid, or is it just mainly playing football?
Yeah, I'm kind of a little bit like I grew up to be like a Man United fan, so I'm a Man United fan, which is a bit rubbish at the minute with how the team is. But yeah, I grew up as like I say, a Man United fan. My dad was a Man United fan. When I was in school, I used to go and watch Man United like quite a lot in the week. I was like a member, so I saw some really good games. Like I think the best one was Real Madrid in the Champions League, where Ronaldo R9 scored a hat trick at Old Trafford. So yeah, I used to watch them quite a lot. But it's like now, if there's football on the TV, there's some other times I'll watch like different things. I don't really watch like I'll watch it if it's on, but I'm not overly fussed if I miss anything. To be honest,
Have you been watching? Oh, God.
Yeah, that might change like when I stop playing football. But like with us, actually, when we're kind of in Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So the in between bits, obviously, like I have 2 kids and like my wife. So if there's too much football on the TV, I think that drives them insane. To be fair, so yeah.
Have you been watching the Bundesliga in this time?
No, I haven't, mate. To be fair, purely because it's been on BT and I haven't got BT. So, but I've just got the Premier Sports. I think you can get 3 months for free at the minute. So they show a lot of Serie A, La Liga, and a bit of Portuguese football. So I've been watching a little bit today, but I've not really watched it. To be fair, some clips I've seen, it's been a bit weird with no fans there. So. Yeah, it's kind of like strange times, really. But I don't know. Have you boys watched any? What's it like without the crowds?
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah,
you get to see the crowd.
Yeah, it's strange.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say it's just weird, like them not being there. But like you're saying, I think you're there. You were going to say there that you get to see kind of like the grounds and stuff, like what they're all like. I think I've just flicked it over now. I've just been watching a bit of golf because I play golf on my downtime, but there was I think it was Portuguese match actually. Benfica were playing, and whoever they were playing they've got massive sheets over the stand that look like the crowd. So it's like massive like sheeting, which although you don't get the noise, but it looks better than empty seats. So I don't know if any other clubs are going to do that, but it looks a little bit better. But I agree, yeah, you get to kind of see what grounds look like if you've not been there. So
yeah. Are you going to be watching the Premier League when it comes back?
yeah. I'll definitely watch like Premier League because at the minute I'm still on like furlough with work. So when that kind of gets kicked off and run, I think it's next weekend, isn't it? Is it next weekend?
Yeah.
Next Friday or something like that. Is it the Premier League start? So yeah, I think United are on one of the early games. So I'll watch them, and yeah, I'll watch as much as I can. So my wife, his family, they're all from Leeds, so they're all Leeds fans. So I think we'll probably watch a bit of Leeds, to be fair, as well. So yeah, but for sure, it would be good to have it back. But I think it'll be interesting to see what it's all like, the Premier League games without no fans. So.
All right, we'll move on to the more onto your football career. We'll talk about the different like footballing environments. Obviously, you played in Stamford. You obviously played for Yaxley and Peterborough. Is it different down there in the lower leagues?
Obviously, like from the step change from like professional football. Yeah, I mean, professional football, you don't have to do. I would turn up for a match day, for example, and I don't have to worry about anything. So you would get in the changing room and like all your kit's laid out, all your boots are there washed, ready, and you just rock up with a wash bag. Like you don't do anything really. You have other people do it for you. Whereas sort of like non-league football, obviously the clubs will have a kit man, so they lay your shirt and your socks and shorts and stuff like that. But you've got to do your own washing. I've got to wash all my own sort of like, not the match kit, but I've got to wash all my base layers and my socks and wash my own boots and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a lot different. And obviously, unless you're fortunate non-league to have a coach, obviously you have to drive yourself to work, obviously to work, to obviously games, training, and stuff like that. And then in the week, obviously I will work a full day at work. And then there's a couple of times last year at Yaxley, we had midweek games away in Oxford. So I was working a full day, sort of like finishing at 4:00, and then I would drive straight to Oxford, like play the game, and then I'd come back. So I'd have left the house at 8:00, 7:30 in the morning, and I wouldn't have been getting back till sort of like midnight, gone that 1, 2:00 in the morning, and then back up for work the next day. Whereas like the professional game, you might train in the morning, but you'd have the day off, you'd travel on a coach in the week, you'd get back, and then you'd have the next day off. So it's a big like step change, to be fair, from that sort of level.
Do you think teams like in non-league and teams like Yaxley can sometimes be better than the teams like in the Premier League, like the quality of the football?
That's a difficult one because obviously I've never played like football in the Premier League, but I think the biggest thing will be is you can get some good quality of football at like lower level, and you can you can watch some good standard of football. I think at Yaxley we try and pass the ball about. We're not Route 1, so it's not kind of quite boring to watch. So we try and play with sort of like tempo and stuff. But I'd say the biggest would obviously the Premier League. The levels you go up, yeah, players are better. Their decision making is better, and obviously their technical ability is better. Fitness levels a lot better and stuff like that. So I don't think you would at our level you wouldn't see sort of like better standard of football, but you do see good level of football at our level. You do see good players. You do see good football played. So yeah, it's kind of a good question. but yeah, obviously the more up you go, it's just quicker fitness level decision making and stuff like that. So,
Jake, have you got anything else to add about the football environments?
Would you say that games are tighter? The lower down the pyramid you get, would you say that games get tighter? As like in the Premier League, you can have a game like Man United versus Sheffield United, which seems like Man United will win most of the time. Do you tend to see that happen in lower league football?
It depends. You will get in non-league football. You'll have clubs that have a really good budget to pay players, and they will have really good like teams. So you will have. I found in our league, you'll probably have sort of maybe 3 or 4 teams that are like good. Then you'll have like a middle sort of like section, and then you have like a couple of teams at the bottom where I think, for example, last team we had a team that had come up and they they really struggled. I think we played them for the first time in the week, went away, and they'd only picked up 1 point, or no, they'd won 1 game, I think, and we ended up going there and drawing. So as much as like there are lower teams down there, like you find in our leagues, teams are capable of beating like the top teams, but you will always have a group that have a bigger playing budget that kind of have their aspirations set out to go up, and that's what they want to do as a club. Whereas you'll have teams that are kind of quite happy sat where they are, and stuff. And so yeah, that's kind of like the difference really in between and leagues. But you do have clubs that are lower than us, lower than Yaxley, that might have a bit of money behind them, that'll have a really good squad that could be capable of beating us. It's the same as like the FA Cup. You can have like a League One side beat a Championship side, or do you know what I mean? Look at, I think it was last season or this season, Malden and Tiptree, who are the same level like that. So yeah, football's a funny one on that.
Going back to what we were talking about earlier with the stadiums and them being all empty,
Yeah.
do you think a club of Yaxley's level could play it well behind closed doors, or do you think lower league football is more for the fans?
Yeah, that's a good question, because when they announced the Premier League was obviously coming back, I was like, well, surely like we can play and stuff like that, because we don't obviously attract. I mean, I think Yaxley, the max you probably get is 100 people, and I think like with a ground like Yaxley, you probably could social distance like people, but then it's a case of, it's a difficult one then, because then it's those people will need to use like toilets and stuff like that. But on the other hand, I would say, yeah, like we need people coming in, like paying obviously the money to get in to support the club, because that's one, like one of the only ways of, teams making money. So yeah, I would say, yeah, it's a difficult one. You think, oh, non-league we can play because there's not as much fans, but then you need them fans coming in, paying the money to support the club. So
yeah, George.
Do you think it's important for a team like Yaxley to have teams? Well, I don't know how to say it, but teams underneath. So obviously Yaxley like under 9s, under 10s. Do you think it's important for that to find local talent?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Do you think it's not as
no, for sure, definitely,
important?
because that's how I made kind of like my step up into adult football. So like I said, I played from under 9s all the way through. I was sort of Thomas Cook. We renamed to PSV. And then my manager then went to Blackstones. So we had an under 8. So from under 16s, we left PSV. Under 18s, we played in the Floodlit League at Blackstones. So we had an under 18s team there. And then obviously the good under 18s, you had a reserve team at Blackstone. So you kind of like got your foot in the door with the reserves. And then from there, obviously, if you'd done well for the reserves, you would then get moved up into the first team. And obviously, like when you get to like sort of like first team football, that's like when, you start to earn a little bit of money from it, albeit like not a lot, but you start to earn a little bit of like money, which is obviously, which is nice. Like, it kind of feels nice at that age, like a young age. You're like, oh, I earn a little bit of money from football, So definitely, like, through all them, like, underage groups, like, it's really important. I think, like, it gives you something as a junior, like, to aspire to, like, oh, I want to go up through the levels, or up through the age groups, and then you want to make it into the first team, or and then from there, that's when you can be seen. During your younger days in academy, go to like a professional academy, and then, or you can miss out on that and just get yourself into adult football. So yes, I think it's like massively important.
Do you think academy in football is important? Maybe going, because obviously now you get people in academy, like at Peterborough, you get people like under nines. Do you think that's important?
That's a difficult. I'd say there's probably pros and cons. Like, that's a difficult one to like comment on, really, because I never, like I said earlier, I was never in the academy. So I think, like, I've seen like people going in the academy, like, that I was at school with, and they was in a young age, and like they don't even play football anymore. They've just like stopped, and they were good, like they've done something different. So it kind of like, they are good because you get good level, but saying that, you get good level of coaching at just normal clubs. So there's kind of like pros and cons with that, really. You can kind of, it's I suppose it's good, and some parents will see it as good, like they want their kid to be at like a professional football club, and some parents might think, oh, I don't want to like put too much pressure on them at a young age. So there's kind of pros and cons with that one.
Jake?
Would you say that you personally not going into an academy, or well, not being picked to go into an academy, could have helped you, because you didn't get the hurt that some of your mates did. You didn't get the hurt of being denied a professional contract.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it could have. I mean, I can imagine, like, what the lads feel like when they they go all through that, and then they get told like they're not getting offered. It must, be like a horrible experience for them. So it might have benefited me and stuff. So and then I think, like, with not being in that, I kind of got used to a little bit of men's football quite early, and stuff like that. So I'd say it benefited me in some ways. It probably didn't in others. So it's kind of like the beauty of football, I suppose. Really, it can work for you, it can't. So
George.
Have you got anything else to add about the football environment?
No, I don't think. No, I don't think so. Really, like I say, it's just, you kind of just go from one spectrum to the other. Like I said, like non-league, you work all throughout the week, and then you train and play. Like, you train twice a week, play and stuff, and then like, you can. It's obviously nice. We're fortunate to earn a little bit of money from it, but then there's always the kind of like, you can get injured, and then you don't. Like, if I was to sort of like get injured on a Saturday, that could affect my work like throughout the week and stuff. So there's just like big differences in terms of obviously the higher up the levels, it is more professional and stuff like that. But that's kind of it, really, with sort of like the environments. But like non-league football's it's a good environment to sort of be in. We're the same as with the professional sort of like level. You go just like being with the lads, being with your teammates, and the banter you have like when you're playing football is kind of unreal, really. I think a lot of players continue to play football because of that. They might not. Sometimes you kind of think, oh, do I need to stop playing because of injuries and stuff? And that side of it kind of keeps you going, really.
Do you think it's like better to be in like a lower league, or like not be a pro at all, because obviously then you can have like the friendly bants in between players, and it's not like what you could say serious?
To be fair, like, it's kind of the same, really. I'm sure you have the banter levels at like at pro level, and you have it at like amateur level, like semi-professional. That's kind of like, that's a football thing. I would say you have that in all kind of like aspects of it. Like, for example, when we train, like, we're serious because, you know, you've got to do it right. The coach expects us to do what he's asking us to do, like to prepare for a game on a Saturday, but you always have a bit of banter with it as well. Like, there's always room for that. So I think that's across the spectrum of footy, really. It's kind of at all levels.
Jake?
I'm all out on this topic, mate.
Right, okay, we'll move on. Do you think, as a lower league footballer, do you think diet choices are more like not less important than it is higher?
Yeah, like, I mean, like, I would imagine, and you probably, like, you see on, I'd imagine with the professional footballers, they get sort of like, I mean, during lockdown, they've probably been given a like a training program. You know, they eat, they go to training and they'll eat sort of like probably breakfast and lunch at training and stuff like that. Whereas, like, for sort of like non-league, like for us, we haven't got any of the, like, the coach or the manager doesn't say, right, you need to, they don't give us a fitness plan or a diet plan or anything like that. So we don't get, it's kind of like down to yourself, really. Like, if it's up to how you, if you, like, on a Friday want to go and have like 5 pints and then go and play footy on Saturday, then I guess as long as you perform well on that Saturday, I mean, as much as the lads would stick you in for a fine for going out on Friday, as much, you know, like you know, players do it. Like, I wouldn't really say, it's just kind of like personal preference, really. If, you know, with, you know, I try and do a bit of exercise every day and eat like okay food, but if I want a bit of cheesecake that's in my fridge, I'll eat it. So it's kind of just as and when, really. I guess, kind of like, eat what you want, but if you exercise regularly, it kind of balances it out, I guess. So, but yeah, sort of our level, we don't get no like fitness plan or anything like that, or any diet stuff.
Do you think it's better that way?
I don't know, really. I'm getting, like, I suppose, you know, I think, like, looking at like our level, the lads all, you kind of like, so on a match day, I'll make sure I try and eat the right food, so that I feel the best I can feel, like running around on a pitch. So, yeah, it's just kind of like personal preference, really, and just how you want to do, really, in football. Like, if you're interested in, like, just, you know, having a bit of a laugh with your mates and stuff, and you don't want to take it too seriously, then I'm guessing, like, you know, lads like that probably eat and drink what they want. But, you know, I'm sure there's probably lads out there that want to do everything. They want to look after himself and be fit and healthy, and then they will eat the right stuff. And, you know, it's a difficult one, really, because us lads, we don't really talk about like things like that. But I just know through my non-league career, I've never had like a fitness plan or a food plan through non-league football. So it's kind of just, they kind of just expect you to just, you know, like, just look after yourselves, and that's kind of it, really.
Are you going on for runs in these times? Are you like going outside kicking a bit of ball now and then?
I did, to start with. I was doing a few sort of like 3-mile runs, but that bores the life out of me. So I've been just doing a bit of HIIT sessions in the morning. So every morning I'll get up and do a HIIT workout, sort of like 40-50 minute HIIT workout, and that kind of just, you know, sets me up for the day, really. You know, I think it's important to, you know, during lockdown, to do a bit of exercise, because it obviously helps you physically, but helps you like mentally as well. Like, with obviously not being able to get out and about and stuff like that. I've been obviously furloughed from work, and I've been looking after kids at home. So yeah, things like that. That's what I've been kind of doing. And in terms of kicking a football, the first time I did anything was, we had a bit of a training session last night at Yaxley. So we had a lot of the boys down and did some social distance training in groups of sort of 6. So that was the first time I've kicked a ball since we stopped, which was the second week of March. So, yeah.
Moving on, I know you mentioned earlier about the fans. Do you think they it's better the fans because obviously it's the fans that want to be there at the non-league. It's the fans and also when you if you score a goal, then there's just that one. Obviously, you got the fans going crazy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like we do, it's one of them. Sometimes we'll play away from home anyway, and we won't. It's a little like we won't have any fans go from Yaxley. The only people that will go from Yaxley will probably be like we'll have the chairman go, some of the committee, and then maybe parents. Um, so when you score there, you kind of get a little bit of a cheer, but obviously not as much compared to when you're at home. I mean, look, Yaxley, we don't get like massive crowds, but yeah, for sure, like when the buzz of scoring a goal, like I think you'll get the same buzz without the fans, like through scoring a goal, but with them there, it just makes it so much better. So yeah, it's going to be weird when you see like Premier League goals going and there's no fans there for sure. Like, and it would be the same at non-league level. Like the fans want to come in and see like good football goals and stuff like that. And yeah, it'll be a shame for those fans that like non-league football, so that they can't come. But it's just interesting to see when we'll be back playing footy because as of yet we've not heard anything for our sort of like level of football. So it'll be interesting to see what develops over the next couple of months.
Jake,
would you say Yaxley's fan base or the people that go to the game are younger or older? Because I know when you're playing for the juniors, you get a season ticket. So just didn't know whether or not the fans.
I'd say. Yeah, no, I mean, definitely, I'd say like the fans. I would say they're more older down at Yaxley. It's good when we've had like some of the junior sides like come down on a match day and stuff because it just it's nice for them. They obviously they're mascots and stuff, so they get to walk out for us, which is a little bit nice for them, and they stay and watch the game, and it's nice for them. But yeah, just I would say generally it's sort of like more of sort of like middle-aged, like older generation. So I think like Yaxley, there's a lot of people in Yaxley that don't know where like the football ground is and stuff like that. So we're all for I know they're all for trying to get as many fans in as they can and stuff. So it'd be good to get more of the younger generation in and stuff because like I think it's free for them anyway. Like any under 12s at the minute, it's like free to get in. So it's an afternoon down there if they want to come and watch a bit of footy. It's it'd be good for them. It'd be nice to get a bit of the younger generation in.
George?
All right, I've got a couple more questions to ask, but we've only got 5 minutes. So do you mind if we end this and then go into another one?
Yeah, no problem, mate. Yeah.
All right. I'll email you the.
No problem. See you in a second.
Okay, we'll talk more a bit about fans. Do you think they affect your game?
Not kind of. Nah, not really. You I suppose you hear them at like Premier League level, but you hear them more at non-league level because there's not as much noise. So if you're getting a bit of a stick, you have a bit of banter from them. Like some players, you chuck it back. Other players just ignore it, but it doesn't affect like my game or anything like that. Kind of, if they're being a bit, if they're chucking the banter at you, you either laugh or give it back. So it's like kind of all good. It all gets left. So sort of like after the game, we'll go into the clubhouse and everyone's in there. So opposing fans, our fans, their players. So you kind of all mix in one anyway. So some players it might affect, but like for me personally, I'm kind of just trying to ignore it. To be fair.
Do you think if you were at a higher level, do you think that would affect you then?
Yeah, probably could. There's probably like, well, obviously there may be more of them and stuff. It's not like, no, I think if it's like the opposing fans, they're probably going to give you like they give you the most stick. You just kind of try and like block it out and stuff. But I think the worst is if you're playing and like the home fans start to like get on your back a little bit, because then you think, oh, like, you know, they don't like me and stuff like that. So then kind of it can affect your confidence in some aspects. And yeah, like, so yeah, I think it can affect you. You know, it can affect your game, like the levels you go up. And I think the higher you go up, like they're probably like used to it. They're kind of used to blocking things out. But for anyone that isn't, yeah, it kind of, you know, it can have an impact on the game.
Jake, you got anything else to add about fans?
No.
Alright, we'll move on. Do you do anything like, so maybe some superstitions before a game to like give you good luck, like your right boot first or something like that?
I've probably got yeah, just like a couple. Like one is actually like just obviously put my right shin pad on first and my right boot on first. But mainly I've always sort of like when we walk out, just as we go over the white line, I kind of just do a couple of jumps and that's it really. But yeah, that's other than that, I suppose that's my kind of like pre-match sort of like superstitions. So yeah, that's about it for me on that front.
Do you do anything the night before a game, if it's maybe a big game away on a Saturday? Do you do anything on the Friday?
So during the season, like I'll never like go out drinking or anything like that. So I make sure like I mean, if I am out, it'll only ever be like a meal with my wife or something. We'll go out for a bit of food. And that's if it's a special occasion. But no, just on the Friday, just sort of like chill out really. And that's kind of like about it really. Yeah, like I say, the main thing is just not go out and just make sure I go to bed at a reasonable time, and that's about it really. And then wake up on the Saturday, and I'll always have beans on toast in the morning, and that'll be it. Just make sure I get myself hydrated, and then just get down to the ground. And I normally like to be first there, so I'm normally first. Kind of like just get myself set up and just relax from there. Really sort the music out, and then it'll be just chill time, ready for when we're out for warm up. So that's it for me.
Jake?
When moving on a little bit, would you say if the chance came up, would you go back to Boston United? Obviously, they're getting their new ground. Would you like to play there?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen pictures of like the new ground and stuff like that, and it looks nice. So I think like you know, I enjoy playing at different like grounds, new grounds, like some sort of like older grounds that have a little bit of like, you know, kind of like culture and atmosphere to them. I enjoy playing at places like that. So it'd be nice going back to, you know, if I got a chance to play there, it'd be nice. But I think sort of like for me, like my sort of like age and stage of my career, I'm kind of like sort of like happy where I'm at. It's a good level of football. It's good for me, like personally. It's a nice place to play for my wife and kids to come down. There's other lads there that have got kids as well, so it's a nice kind of social thing for them and stuff. And I'm 32 now, so it's kind of not spring chicken in the footballing world. So yeah, I'm kind of happy with where I'm at the moment and stuff. But if we got them in a cup or something like that, and we got to play at Boston United's new ground, then it'd be nice to play there, because I'm sure it looks like it's going to be a really nice like ground, to be fair. So yeah.
On the topic of grounds, is there any grounds that you've played that stick out?
So when I was playing for Boston United, we had an away game on a Wednesday at Brighton and Hove Albion, and that was when they played at the With Dean, so their old ground. So that was kind of a weird experience, because they had a running track around the outside, so the fans were like really far away, like they felt really far away from the ground. So that kind of like stuck out. Where else is kind of like around here? Obviously, I enjoy playing it actually, like the pitch, and it's nice 3G, so you don't get any bobbles. It's nice playing there. There's a few nice ones at our sort of like level. Got Hellstone, which is a nice sort of like proper non-league ground. So that kind of like sticks out. Just trying to think where else really. Obviously, yeah, like going back to Boston, you played at like you're playing in, like better stadiums. So yeah, Brighton and Hove Albion, Bristol Rovers, and stuff. So Chester when they was in the league. So there was some nice grounds like that. But there's also you go to some nice non-league grounds like Stamford's old ground. I used to really enjoy playing there, and their new ground now is really nice. So yeah, you get some nice ones, and then you get some like really bad ones as well. So, but I suppose it's non-league football for you.
George?
Do you think that's a positive for non-league? Because obviously, if you go more up, their fans are more far away. For example, the way the pitch. Do you think that's a positive? They're pretty much at Yaxley. They're pretty much on the touchline.
Yeah, like
it's good.
Yeah, kind of. I suppose it's like different. It was just like a weird experience with them so like far away. Like when you look at other grounds, they're kind of, they're not like right. Well, they are kind of like right on the touchline, really, aren't they? So it was just a bit of a weirder experience because you didn't like really expect it. But yeah, with Yaxley, obviously they're a little bit closer, so you don't have ball boys or anything like that. So it's like the ball goes out, they go and get the ball for you. So they're kind of like right there. So you kind of have a little bit more interaction with them when there's like a break in the game or a pause in the game. It's sometimes you end up like chatting to some of them. So it's kind of nice like that, really. So yeah.
Jake,
would
you say Yaxley and other non-league clubs around Peterborough are sort of community clubs? They bring the community together.
Yeah, like we try to. I know at Yaxley, I know like we try and advertise and try and get people to come and to come in because that's we want them to come down and watch a bit of footy, support like non-league football, and hopefully like if we try and get them in like for the first time they enjoy it, then they come back and stuff like that. And yeah, I know there's other teams. I think all the non-league. It's important to them really if they get they try and get the community involved because that's kind of like by them obviously paying to get in, it helps keep clubs afloat. So that is like massively important, like keeping and it can also like help obviously kids as well, if they're kind of keeps them out of trouble and stuff. If like clubs like they offer like soccer schools and stuff, so it's good for the kids as well. So yeah, community is like a massive thing for non-league football clubs. Certainly like Yaxley, like we want to try and get everyone down and watch the games and stuff like that. So we'd love to see like new faces down there.
Going back to Boston, when you were like, if you got Boston in the cup like next season, do you think if you'd score, it would be you would celebrate more, or do you think you'll celebrate less?
Kind of just the same really. I've played since I left there. I think I've played in about 2 or 3 times for Stamford in cup finals where I've scored in one particular game, and yeah, it's just kind of the same really. I suppose if you had like a really good relationship like with the club and you were there for ages, you might not. But it's one of them. I suppose if you had a club and you had a bit of a falling out, then you're going to celebrate a lot more. But you don't really see too much of that at like non-league really. You just kind of it's just you're playing for that club and you're scoring, like you want to help your team win, and if you score, like you get that buzz of scoring and stuff. So you just kind of it's just a bit of a natural reaction and on that at that particular time. To be fair.
Moving, going back to something we spoke about quite a while ago, about the higher tiers in football. Do you think you watching them, does it like that could maybe help you as a player get better?
Yeah, like you kind of like you watch like footy and you watch certain players like how they play and you kind of you try and like imitate them like you do and stuff. But yeah, like not so I watch like bits and bobs in terms of like how I can improve, but that's I kind of do more of that from like local level. So like from the coach that coaches at Yaxley. So we've had a couple of coaches who have been, at the minute we've got, Luke Hitwell, who's very good. And before that we had Elio Salerno, who's now at Peterborough United doing their under 16s, I think, or one of the age groups. So yeah, they help you. Like, and they're two lads I've actually played in the same team with as well. So they were once teammates, and they're kind of like now your coach. So yeah, you pick up like little bits because they're watching the games really. So when you're playing, you're not really focused on other things, and sometimes you miss things, and they can point things out that really help you. So yeah, like watching the TV and that, you pick up little bits and bobs and stuff. And then I think the main bulk as well, you obviously is on the field yourself with your coaches and stuff like that, where you can really adapt your game.
Okay.
Would you say like Premier League football's like, I don't know how to say it, but sort of fake football, less realistic?
It's just, I think they just like they it's a lot kind of like tactical, I think. So it's like when you watch the Premier League, if they're passing it round the back, you won't really see like the other team pressing them, like going. But like at our level of football, like if any team at the back start knocking it about, everyone kind of like presses as much as they can, like kind of like sometimes runs about like a bit of a headless chicken kind of thing. Whereas I think, the Premier League, obviously they're all good players playing the Premier League. So yeah, I'd say it's a lot like more tactical and stuff, and yeah, like they're better standard players and stuff. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's kind of like it just played a different way, I guess. So.
You scored quite a lot of goals in your career. You scored nearly 200 goals. Is there any that really stand out that you'll remember for your life?
Since I've been at Yaxley, I've managed to obviously get that amount. So yeah, I think 196 or something like that. Any particulars that stand out? There's been a few. Sometimes you can score like a 30-yarder in a game that you win 5-0, but then you could score like a tap in where you win 2-1 or something like that, and they kind of feel the same and stuff. But there's a few goals that you actually I'd say stand out. There was one particular stands out when I was at Stamford. We played away at Stocksbridge and actually played Jamie Vardy, who was playing for Stocksbridge at the time, and before he made it big, and I scored it was a sort of a volley from about 20, 22, 23 yards, edge of the box, top corner, and that's kind of always stood out. I've had the video of it, so I've managed to kind of keep that, but that's one that stood out. And yeah, there's been a few. I scored a hat-trick for Stamford against Hendersford in the FA Trophy. That's kind of, there 3 goals there that kind of like stood out for me. And yeah, there's been a few good ones for Yaxley. So yeah, it's like scoring goals is nice. It's a nice feeling, but it's obviously it's always better when you win. So if you score and you lose, it's not the same. So yeah, there's a few. I'd say they're the ones that stick out.
Do you think if you say you've got a game on the Saturday and then you've got work on the Sunday, do you think if you lose that game on the Saturday, it like gets like puts you down a bit?
Yeah, like for sure. Like, fortunately, I don't work at the weekend. We just play footy. But if I lose on Saturday, then I don't talk to the wife when I get in. So that, like, I'm in the hump. So yeah, like if you lose and stuff, yeah, like it's annoying. It hurts because you want to win all the time. So yeah, it affects my mood. Like if we lose and I play bad, like it kind of like sometimes ruins your weekend. So yeah, but you just got to like kind of like quickly get over it. So I know it's important because you want to win, but it's kind of a game of football at the end of the day. So it's kind of hard to stay in that mood when I've got like a couple of kids as well. You kind of got to, like be in good moods for them and look after them. So yeah, it does affect me. Like I do get in the mood about it when we lose. But yeah, it's kind of like 1-2 days. So and I try and get over it.
Vice versa, if you win, does that affect you in a good way?
Yeah, like for sure. Like you win and you're kind of like buzzing, like the group chat with the lads. Everyone's on it, having a bit of banter and stuff, and that's really good. And it's just in different, you get different sort of like circumstances as well. Like depending on how you win, what type of game it was. I know this was from not playing football, but when we won the league a couple of seasons back, we trained on the Saturday morning. We didn't have a game, and we was waiting for Wisbech to play their final game, and all Wisbech had to do was win, and they would won the league. And I remember the lads we trained in the morning. We'd gone down to the boathouse just to have a couple of drinks, and obviously just keep an eye on Twitter to see the score come in. And from there, sort of me and like one of my best mates, actually JP, we'd gone back to his, and we'd got the kids and the wives there, and we were pacing up and down the garden, like waiting for the full-time result to come in, and we'd won the league by not playing, and we were like buzzing. So we'd like kind of like left the wife and the kids, and we'd all gone out, but we'd got a cup final on the Monday, and we lost the cup final. But on the cup final that day, we got presented with the league trophy. It was a bit of a weird like kind of feeling, because you were buzzing at the weekend winning the league, then you want to win the cup final but you lose, but then you get promoted with a league trophy, so you're all buzzing again. So yeah, for sure, like when you win games, like yeah, the mood you're in, the atmosphere, like with the boys group chats and stuff, it's quality.
Jake?
I'm all out, George.
Yeah, I'm all out as well. Go on, Jake, you end it off.
Thank you for coming on today. It's been nice speaking with you, and we wish you the best for the rest of your footballing career, and hopefully you can score more goals for Yaxley.
Yeah, hopefully so. And like I said, if you want any more of the lads on from Yaxley, let me know. I'm pretty much good mates with them all. So if you want anyone on from manager, coach, and stuff like that, let me know, and I'll get on to them. So,
do you think managing is something you would want to do after your career?
People ask me this about like, if you thought about doing sort of like coaching and stuff like that, and it's not something I've really thought about or been interested in doing really. I think maybe if I was to finish playing football, maybe I wouldn't manage, but maybe I'd sort of like help out as being assistant manager or help out, something like that. But it's not something I'm kind of at the minute not really thinking about. It might, a few years down the line, it might, an opportunity might come and I might think, I'll have a little go at it. But it's not something I'm kind of thinking about or desperately wanting to do. So, but we'll see. You never know.
If you stay at Yaxley, do you think that if the under, we'll say, just the juniors level wants a manager, would you go for it, or even a coach?
Yeah, like it just depends on if I can commit to that, because if I'm doing something, I'm like fully committed. So and it just whether or not I can do that with being at home. So like my eldest he's 5 in September, so that would just be whether or not he'll probably want to play football. So if I'm taking him to football and stuff like that, do you know what I mean? It might. So it's just down to if I can, give all of my time and do it properly to that specific team. So, but we've spoke about Yaxley, sort of those younger age groups. Some of the first teamers sort of like popping down to training sessions and just like showing our faces, really, just saying hello and seeing if we can, join in sessions and help you boys out and stuff like that. So, we spoke about that club level. So you may see a few of the boys down at sessions and help out. But yeah, in terms of management, it will just be something I just have to weigh it up with my home life and whether I can commit and do it properly, because that's what I want to do. I don't want to do something and then a month down the line say I can't do it anymore, and then it leaves that team in a bit of a pickle. So yeah, we'll see.
I'm finished now. Thanks for coming on today. It's been nice talking to you.
Yeah, no worries, boys. I'm happy to help out, happy to come on, and like I say, if you want any of the lads to come on again from Yaxley in a few weeks' time, let me know, and stuff like that. So, and if you want to do anything more like media-wise and stuff, then I'm sure Stan at Yaxley would welcome you down, even if it's interviewing some of the players, just to broaden your podcasts and stuff like that. Then we'll see if we can help you out.
Thank you very much.
Right, cheers.
Thank you.
No worries,
stay safe.
No worries, and you guys. And yeah, I'll see you soon.
You too. Thank you.
Take care. See you later.